Like as the older I get, I'm like, damn, sure, it's harder to stay lean. That's for sure. Um, and so actually being overweight is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Well, yeah.
The New York hospital said it was the number one factor for severe
Yeah.
COVID symptoms was obesity. That was the
That's
number one
correct.
factor.
It is. That's yes, exactly.
But it's also, we live in a world where people want to be sensitive to other people's feelings. So
Yeah, absolutely.
we don't want to bring up the fact that being fat's bad for you. It's a judgment on your...
And food's great.
Yeah, I do love food.
Yeah, and I mean to be totally frank, I mean speaking for myself, I'd rather eat tasty food and live a shorter life. Yeah.
Yeah, those moments of enjoying a great meal.
Yeah.
And then even talking about it, they're valuable. They're worth something. Yeah, it's not. We don't want to eat Soylent Green and live to be 160.
I don't want to eat. Tasty food is great. It's one of the best things about life.
It really is. Yeah, it's an art form as well. It's like fine
absolutely.
food is it's a delicious sandcastle. It's temporary. It doesn't last very long, but there's something about it that's very pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I don't know what advice to give. Like, maybe have the tasty food, but smaller amounts of it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think regulated feeding window is really the way to go. Some sort of an intermittent fasting approach.
Sure.
When I started doing that, I found myself to be quite a bit healthier. And when I've deviated from that, I've gained weight.
So what's
16 hours.
What,
I like
okay,
16 hours. Yeah.
So like at night or
Yeah. So I get to a certain point and then I count out. I usually hit the stopwatch on my phone, and then I look at 15 hours in. I'm like, oh, okay, got an hour before I can eat.
Yeah.
And so anything in between that is just water or coffee.
Actually, like this may be a useful bit of advice for people, but eating before you go to bed is a real bad idea, and actually negatively affects your sleep.
Yeah.
And it can actually cause heartburn that you don't even know is happening, and that subtle heartburn affects your sleep because you're horizontal and your body's digesting. So if you want to improve the quality of your sleep, and be healthier, it's do not eat right before we're going to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst things you could do.
Some of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. I've done that particularly after comedy shows. I'm starving.
Sure.
I'll come home and I'll eat, and then I go to bed and I just feel like shit. And I wake up in the middle of the night. Like,
it's gonna crush your sleep, and it's gonna damage your pyloric sphincter and your esophagus, and it's so. In fact, drinking and then going to sleep that's one of the worst things you could do.
Yes. Yeah.
So just try to avoid drinking and eating
booze.
Drinking
booze.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't small amounts of alcohol that evidence suggests it doesn't have a negative effect on it.
I put in the same category as delicious food. It kind of makes things a little more fun. I like it.
I mean, some of the people who have lived the longest, was a woman in France who I think maybe has the record or close to it, and she had a glass of wine every day.
Yeah.
So it's like small amounts is fine. But this is like I learned this like quite late in life. It's like just avoid having alcohol and avoid eating at least 2 or 3 hours before going to sleep, and your quality of sleep will improve, and your general health will improve a lot.
For sure.
It's a big deal, and I think not widely known.
Do you have time to actually